Gentleman yields back. Ms. Hoyle, you're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you. I yield my time to Mr. Huffman.
I thank the gentlelady. And Mr. Chair, I just wanted to ask you a question, if you would, because in your opening remarks, I think we heard some candor from you when you described the Endangered Species Act as obsolete. It's the most fulsome statement I've actually heard from you, that it certainly comports with the agenda that we've seen in this Congress that seems quite hostile to the Endangered Species Act. And so my question for you is, do we still need the Endangered Species Act?
And I believe we do need the Endangered Species Act, but we need an Endangered Species Act that works, not one that has been weaponized, not one that's been abused, and not one that's not focused on actually recovering endangered species.
So you would not repeal the actual Endangered Species Act?
I would not repeal the Endangered Species Act.
Chip away at it bill by bill?
I would like to, you know, it hasn't been reauthorized in a long time. Maybe we could work together to write an act that actually works, that isn't weaponized so much, that actually focuses on species and allows those federal employees who want to help species to do their job and not to get their hands tied by frivolous litigation and outside groups that are using the Endangered Species Act to stop or to promote their agenda or stop a project or to raise money off of it.
Thank you. So, Mr. Chairman, I appreciate you also acknowledging that it is indeed extreme to use the Congressional Review Act to override science-based species management. I guess my question...
Gentleman yield?
No, well, I'm posing a question, and then I'll look forward to hearing from you. My question is, what happens if the lesser prairie chicken or some of these other species that you're delisting don't recover? What happens if they continue to slide towards extinction? Is it just thoughts and prayers at that point?
Well, Mr. Huffman, you added to my words. You said something to the effect of science-based, of facts and science-based reasoning. That's what we want to get back to.
So we'll disagree on that, I suppose. I'm talking about the agency scientists that make those decisions based on best available science as the law requires, but apparently you don't deem that to be science-based. I think we have a disagreement.
Well, I say at times they can't implement the science because of the litigation that follows it. And if the law is not working, then I think Congress has a responsibility to rein that power back from the agency, and ultimately Congress can take that up. There is still a backstop, but
so the backstop is Congress,
if it needs to be.
And so I guess that's what I was wondering about. So if the lesser prairie chicken continues to crash toward extinction, and you've tied the hands of the Fish and Wildlife Service to use the ESA as a tool, under Republican leadership, the Congress would then swoop in and have a hearing to think about how to protect the species from extinction? Is that what you're saying?
I would be open to having hearings and hearing the real science and the data and taking the a lot of the outside noise out of it, if that's what it takes to actually protect the species.
So you're saying, Mr. Chairman, that you and this Congress will be the backstop against extinction when a species is teetering on the brink. And I just wonder why we're not having hearings then on the various species that are about to blink out.
Well,
all I see is hearings on bills that try to reduce protection. I don't see anything to step in as a backstop and save species.
I think we have a different idea of what protection is. I think we have a lot of hearings focused on the thing that will actually help all species, and that's scientific-based management on habitat, not on saying we can pass a rule in an agency, we can wave a magic wand, do nothing on the ground, stop economic activity, stop private partnerships, and magically the species is going to be saved. That model is not working. And it may be that Congress needs to revisit the whole Endangered Species Act and come up with a model that works and have an agency.
So reclaiming my time, I think that is precisely what concerns many of us, Mr. Chairman. The idea of this Republican Congress replacing science-based species management and professional wildlife managers and a legal mandate to use best available science and relying on this committee and Republicans in Congress as the backstop, plus maybe thoughts and prayers against extinction, is pretty cold comfort for anyone who cares about animals. I yield back.